I'm Dana Denta, and you're watching FYI. During this unprecedented time in history, we may be worrying about many aspects of our new momentary reality. But the homebound in our area shouldn't have to worry about where their next meal is coming from. And there's an organization that has been around since 1974 dedicated to providing meals to people that need it most. Joining me is Courtney Vanderlaan, Director of the Ann Arbor Meals on Wheels. Welcome to the show, Courtney.
Thanks so much, Gina.
So, Courtney, tell me a little bit about Meals on Wheels in Ann Arbor. How many people do you guys currently serve?
So we have just over 300 active clients that we're serving each week. We typically serve almost 500 folks throughout the course of the year, but on any given day, we're serving about 300 people right now.
And what are the criteria, the eligibility requirements for being able to take advantage of the Ann Arbor Meals on Wheels?
So in order to be eligible for Ann Arbor Meals on Wheels, folks need to be homebound due to a health-related reason. So it can be physical health, it can be mental health. They need to live in our service area, which is primarily the city of Ann Arbor, but then some of the outskirts of the city as well. And then the majority of the folks that we serve are over the age of 60, but folks can also be under 60 as well.
Okay. And then where does the food actually come from?
Our meals come from a couple of different places. The majority of our meals come from the University of Michigan's hospital kitchen. They serve our Western meals that come prepared to our office. They're hot if the meals are supposed to be hot, and they're cold if they're supposed to be cold. So when we deliver them to clients, they're ready to eat. And then we also have a partnership with Lucky Kitchen, which is a local restaurant here that provides an Asian meal option for our clients. Which is wonderful for some folks who are unable to tolerate a Western diet. So we're really grateful for both of those food providers who always support us, but have also helped to adapt their operations to continue serving our community in the midst of this pandemic.
Yeah, so I think that's a really important aspect that we need to start talking about today, because I think probably people are wondering, even volunteers I'm sure that you've had or are currently working with you were like, what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? So I know your schedule has sort of changed. Why don't you tell me about your shift in schedule, which has sort of made it so there's less contact, right?
Yeah, so we on a typical week are delivering meals Monday through Saturday, and we have almost 100 volunteers that work with us each week to deliver all of those meals. We only have one staff member who's actually paid who delivers to folks who live on the outskirts of our service area. Otherwise, all of our other routes are done by volunteers. So our volunteer presence is such a critical part of our operations. Within the last few weeks, though, in response to the pandemic and everything that's been happening with the coronavirus, we have shifted our operations. So we are currently delivering meals 3 days a week. So we're still delivering the same number of meals over the course of those 3 days, but we've consolidated all of our deliveries into 3 days as opposed to 6. So we deliver up to 13 prepared meals to our clients each week, and we are still doing that. We're just doing that a little bit differently over the course of 3 days rather than 6. And that was in order to need fewer volunteers in the midst of this. So we are just so grateful for the outpouring of support we've received from our regular volunteers who volunteer with us throughout the course of the year, as well as the new support we've had from so many members of our community who are just looking for ways to give back and to show up in these really unprecedented circumstances. But our ability to consolidate our meal deliveries allowed us to need fewer volunteers each week in order to deliver all of the meals. And then we have shifted all of our volunteer meal pickups to outside of our building. So if you drive by our office during meal delivery time, around 11:30 when all the volunteers are coming, you'll see all of the volunteers staged on the sidewalks outside of our office. So our staff are cleaning the outsides of the coolers to make sure that they're good to go by the time the volunteers get here, and then prepping all of their things that they're going to need for the route outside of our office with signs out there so they know what route they're going to. And then they pull up and they're able to do a contact-free pickup of those coolers and load their cars. And our staff are available at a distance if they need anything or to answer any questions. But they are able to just grab their coolers and head out on their routes. And then we stay available by phone and email throughout the course of the week for folks who need anything. And then on our days when we're not delivering meals, we're still calling all of our clients each week in on them. So our social interaction piece of our program is really critical for a lot of our volunteers and clients. That's a time that they really enjoy spending, catching up with one another and checking in on each other. And that's something that we've really had to par back on to keep everybody as safe and healthy as possible. So our staff are calling volunteers and clients, calling clients primarily to check in to see if they need anything,
That's
to see how they're
amazing.
doing. So
Yeah.
that's been really great. And it's been a good time, a good opportunity for us to reassure them that we're still here, we're still going to be delivering meals, and if there's other connections that they need to additional resources, that's a great time for us to be able to do that. And then once volunteers are out actually delivering meals to clients, we have worked over the past month to address all of our clients' meal delivery instructions. So volunteers are now able to leave most of the meals on a table or a chair or a bench outside of the client's home. And then we're still knocking or ringing the doorbell so the clients know that we're there, and then we're waiting to receive some sort of verbal or visual cue from them to let us know that they're okay. So some clients are waving at us through their door. Some people are just speaking loudly through their door and letting us know we're here, we're okay. We're still having some point of contact for them because that's a big point of reassurance for a lot of our clients to make sure if something's amiss, we're still going to check in on you. It looks a little bit different right now. We're trying as much as possible not to go into clients' homes unless their mobility restricts them from being able to get to their front door. But that's a small portion of the clients that we're serving. The majority of folks have been able to get creative with their delivery instructions, and we've worked individually with each one of them to do that, to make sure that they still can get their meals.
That's, I mean, it's sort of the same as like me getting delivery of food at my house. You know, they're getting, yeah, but I do like as soon as we started talking, I was sort of thinking about that aspect of like the socialization, because a lot of these people do live alone. So like that is like their socialization for the day, and they're not really getting it anymore. So it is nice to have that conversation over the phone. And even like if they weren't feeling well, maybe they could tell one of you guys because they don't have someone at home to tell, you know? So have you seen sort of the meals change because you do have to sort of consolidate, you know, you're not getting as many deliveries out in a week. So are you getting more pantry sort of foods, or is it still a lot of like the fresh meals that you're normally providing?
Yeah, so we've been able to maintain the number of fresh meals that we're providing. All of our meals that we serve meet a certain set of nutritional guidelines, so we're still able to do all of that. We are in the process of shifting to a slightly different menu with our meal providers in the midst of this pandemic to ensure that we can still get the same ingredients and resources that we need for them to be able to prep all of those meals. So the delivery schedule and the actual menu items are looking a little bit different, but we're still able to deliver the same number of fresh meals, which we're really grateful for. And then we've been prepping our clients with some extra meals that are frozen, shelf stable, and liquid meals just in case our operations are further impacted. At this point, we are fairly confident we'll be able to maintain this consolidated delivery schedule, and our meal providers have been wonderful in helping us to adapt to continue doing this just in some slightly different ways. But in the event that we would have to adjust even further, we have so far sent out 6 shelf-stable meals. We've sent out 5 meals worth of liquid meals, and we have 10 meals of frozen meals ordered for each client that we are going to be sending out in the next couple of weeks. And that is just in order to build their nutritional safety net in case something were to happen, or if they happen to miss one of their meal delivery days. We're delivering meals for 2 days now instead of just 1 day. And so those are just some backup items for them to reassure them that we plan to continue being here. And if anything changes, we have reassured our clients we will be sure to let you know and make sure you've got what you need. But we've been building up this nutritional safety net over the past few weeks just in case things change further.
So before we go, let's talk a little bit about, I assume you probably still need volunteers. You maybe lost some during this, maybe trying to gain some during it, but you are doing virtual orientations too. So if you haven't volunteered before, you can become a new volunteer.
So we were accepting and still are accepting new volunteer applications. We actually have been so grateful that we have had enough volunteers to help us get all of our meal deliveries out each week. With people's changes in their work schedules and school schedules, many of our volunteers who typically would just volunteer once a week or once a month now have availability all 3 of our
Oh,
delivery
yeah.
days. And so we've had a number of volunteers who have made the supported decision to stay home during this period of time and take care of themselves. And we are grateful for all the ways that they care for our program and our clients and our staff throughout the year, and are glad that they felt like they could safely step back. And we're also really great for all the other folks who have stepped up to fill some of those slots and those gaps. So right now we're doing really well in volunteers. We've got a great pool of volunteers to pull from. And so we're just letting folks know, if you're interested in volunteering, you can go to our website and fill out an application still. We are holding off on our online orientation for the time being because we're trying to send out as few new volunteers as possible due to just potential exposure. And so we're trying to use the same pool of volunteers as often as possible, but we are so grateful for all the people who want to give back to our community in this way. And so we're letting folks know, if you fill out the application, you'll be first on our list to notify if we do have volunteer needs in the midst of the pandemic that arise, and also following the end of this, because we need even more volunteers on a weekly basis on our regular schedule.
I'm sure, yeah. So before we go, why should people just continue to support Ann Arbor Meals on Wheels? Why do you think this is the organization that people should choose to support?
So we are really grateful that we live in a community that's got so many wonderful organizations that are supporting our neighbors. And we're really passionate here, of course, about supporting our neighbors who are homebound. And that's something that is an ongoing need and an ongoing thing throughout the course of the year. So there are certainly new needs that have arisen in the midst of the coronavirus, but are also needs that exist throughout the course of the year. And we have a lot of opportunities for folks to engage with our program and help people be able to age in place as long as it's safely possible to do so. And we believe really strongly that Meals on Wheels is a really critical part of helping folks age in place. So we do that primarily through the provision of meals, but we also typically do that through yard cleanup. And we're in the process of trying to set up a personal items pantry to help further support our clients. In addition to meals, being able to provide toilet paper if we can get it, or paper towel and soap and laundry detergent, and some of those things that be difficult to get to the store or difficult to carry into the house if you are able to take public transportation, but just try to further equip people in holistic ways to help them age in place. And that's something that we really need our community to be a part of year round.
Well, thank you so much, Courtney, for chatting with me about what you're doing now, but what you're always doing. So it's always amazing. So thanks for that.
Thanks,
For more
Tina.
on this and other programs, visit a2gov.org/CTN. Visit youtube.com/CTN Ann Arbor to see all that we have to offer. And remember to like, comment, and share. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time to FYI.